Welcome back. The Supreme Court scrapping 122 licenses issued after October 2008. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, somebody who has been campaigning and taking a very strong position on the 2G scam, now joining us. Rajiv, your first thoughts on the verdict?
No, I think this is a landmark verdict, Barka. This gives hope to all of those who think that the system doesn't work, that the system can be hijacked, without any opposition, and despite the fact that the media has been highlighting this for more than a year before 2008. So I think this is a great day. This is a great day for all of those who believe in the vision of India, that there are rules and the rules cannot be broken, and those who break rules will be detected and punished.
Rajiv, how do you respond to the apprehension now that there will be a wave of litigations in the Supreme Court by many of these corporate players?
No, I think, look, Barka, if for anybody who's studied the judgment in detail, the licenses have been cancelled specifically on the ground. This is not about corruption or any of the larger debate that is going on. This is specifically on the violation of the TRAI Act. And the Supreme Court has, laid out 6 instances of illegalities and violations of law on the basis of which these licenses were issued. So these licenses were found to be illegal. Now, you can challenge these decisions, but you have to be very confident that that allegation of illegality you can surmount. And it's going to be very, very difficult because these are all fairly open and shut issues of illegalities and violation of the TRAI Act and other laws.
Rajiv, there's a statement that's just come in from Telenor saying it's been unfairly treated and it's shocked after the Supreme Court's verdict to scrap telecom licenses. There will be a number of such reactions now coming in. What should be the counter-argument to that?
No, I think, Barka, there is a case that some of these foreign investors who have come in here in good faith to invest in licensees may have been misled into believing that these licenses were legal. And so, I sympathize with the people from Telenor or other foreign companies that have essentially invested in the India story and have basically placed faith in the Indian system to do the right thing. But, it is tragic, but it does not correct the fact, it does not change the fact that there have been underlying illegalities on the basis of which these licenses were issued. So my sympathies are obviously with these investors who have invested large amounts of money into this country, being confident about our country. And so there is something that we need to do to restore the confidence in these companies and maybe give them another opportunity to invest. And so the Supreme Court has said that these licenses are not going to be cancelled. They are going to remain operational for a few more months. And these licensees should be given an opportunity to bid for at market rates the same licenses. So I think, yes, it's not the best thing to happen to an investor from Norway or the Middle East who've actually placed confidence in the country. But the fact is that the promoters with whom they were partnering, unfortunately or fortunately or deliberately or collusively, as the case may be, have got these licenses in violation of law, and the law has to prevail.
Rajiv, how do you see what's happened with Mr. Chidambaram? And will there be legal questions that arise which will then say that if the matter is already in the trial court, the licenses could not have been cancelled, that too could come up at the trial court level again?
Barka, you followed this as much as I have. The issue that these things were being done in a very questionable manner and in violation of certain laid down laws has been in the public domain since 2007, and a lot of journalists have put it out there. Now, the question that needs to be answered is how come the entire system of government, in some sense, sat around silently allowing this violation of law to continue, and how these licenses to be issued and this, all of these foreign investors to walk in and make these large investments and now get disappointed. So I think there is a legitimate question that needs to be asked, saying why is it that the government system, why did it fail? And fail so badly and obviously. Now, I don't want to say it is person A or person B or person C because I'm not competent enough and my pay scale in Parliament doesn't allow me to do that. But I think there is a legitimate question that needs to be asked, that where is the system of checks and measures that should have been in play to prevent violation of laws And this is now not just about some, academic discussion of corruption. This is about violating laws and licenses being issued in violation of law. Why did this system not pick this up? Why did somebody not say this is wrong? Why this is in violation of law?
Rajiv, can I ask you a last question? Do you see today's verdict as an indictment of the policy per se, or do you see it as an indictment of the way the policy was corrupted?
I think it's very difficult to divide these two things up. I think there is a need for our system of government to be a lot more transparent and give a lot more confidence in the way public policy decisions are taken. And whether it is about policies, look, the Supreme Court has said that what was done in January 2008 was in violation of the first come first serve policy. So it is not even about the policy. It is about violation of the TRA Act and 6 other violations of law. So the real question is, how is it that the whole entire government could not detect, pick up, protect, and prevent violations of law?
All right, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, thanks for those comments. We're also joined now by senior lawyer Majid Memon. Majid Memon is defending Vinod